Good evening once more. Welcome back to Essentials. Welcome back to ETF2L Season 52 of the top division coverage. It is week 4. We've hit the halfway point of the regular season, and it's going to be the match of ALPHAGLΩCK versus the Compound tonight, which has potential to be interesting, although I think there's going to be a pretty clear favorite headed into this one, but I'm sure Turbo, who's with me on the mic, hi, I'm Cerny, by the way, JMax on the production, he's going to have a lot to say about that. I think he's a Compound fan.
Yeah, I think I saw Compound really early on in the season, week 1. So I kind of got a quick little snippet of what they were going on about. But this is week 4. A lot of growth could have happened between all these teams. And these are the two teams I've surprisingly been dodging for all the other weeks. So it would be nice to see where their growth has gotten to at this halfway point of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I have seen both of these teams fairly recently, and seen both of them win pretty handily. I mean, okay, it was a bit of a dredge for Compound, but they did still win their last official as well, and they also played Govan, which is our second map of the night, in that match, which they picked again. I think they, as we were talking about this in the free stream, they seem to love this map. I think they're just picking it off for the sake of, we're probably never going to see this map again in a season, and we're just going to have this be the X factor and force other teams to play it so we can steal points off of them when they don't know how to play it. And maybe they've been, practicing and stuff. That's my theory of why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah, the wildcard map choice, or I guess 2 in this season, has always been a staple of these lower teams, or these teams that are kind of the underdog, and it being their sort of silver bullet against these better teams, because a lot of these other teams don't really want to scrim on it, or they just don't have the time or the patience or the respect, and they feel like they can maybe just vibe on the map and that'll be enough. But if you actually go into the lab and really think about these things and go in with a good morale, like having an extra map is not only good for your week-to-week games, but your pick and bans as well. They're a lot more potent until your team, other counter teams start, just killing your one-trick pony. Then you just turn into like one of these Vanu teams where you're just like, oh no, we can't pick the funny classic map. What are we going to do now? But there's 2 of them, so hopefully, like, maybe they're more likely to see this Govan map.
Yeah, potentially, if it goes to playoffs for this team, which at this rate, I mean, we don't exactly know the playoff structure still, I think, but I think ALPHAGLΩCK fairly certainly are gonna make it. They are one of the strongest teams in the season, I think, overall, and just like both raw talent, but also in the performances they've had to back it up. Sure, they've had some rough starts, some rough matches at the start of the season, but realistically, right, they should be up there. Compound, I can see them sneaking in, though. All things considered, this has been a team that has surprised me a little bit, because yeah, they've got some experience on this team. Some players that, have played at least like near the top of ETF2L before, but for the most part, these are Div 1 type players, right? These are good players, but not near the top usually. And they're performing well enough, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is interesting. The first time I saw them, I think they had Sneaky on Demoman. I see Davey in the server, so I can only assume that Davey's going to be playing Demoman for them tonight, which is, I'm pretty sure, he's a Compound common. So he's known around this part. So I don't think they're going to be strangers to playing with each other. So that'll be interesting. I think I still didn't have enough data, I would say, for Sneaky's Demoman to kind of enter my system and for me to evaluate. But I think Davey has enough experience now that it's got to stick. Whether or not it's up to against Cyrus will be another matter. But yeah, I think anything could happen still.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment of how we're doing this. However, we're talking about Govan. That is going to be our second map. First, we're doing Metalworks, which is a much more traditional, much more established map, at least nowadays in Europe. I remember the days when we didn't want to play this map and it was a North American thing only, and maybe Aussie thing. But hey, nowadays we play it as well. I think everybody should be fairly familiar with how to deal with this map and how to play around it. And I think just the fact that it is so established is probably gonna favor the AMS team here a little bit, right? I think that's maybe I'm just going on a limb, but maybe the team with basically exclusively Prem players on it, or like more Prem players on it, is going to do better.
I think it's interesting. Literally every certain map, every player, every team has been, in a sense, starting out as a Govan And then eventually they make their way into a Metalworks, where Metalworks still isn't quite the poster child, but believe it or not, people weren't super psyched about Process when that hit on the scene straight away. It was new, it was scary, and it was a lot pipier for some reason, but still, like, this map could still win a bit more in the hearts. As for where I sit on the metal fence, I like Metalworks. I think it's got some very interesting sections. I particularly like second the most out of all the sections of the map. I think the one that gives the contest for this map and its popularity contest is the last point, the infamous lasts that just kind of stale on and get stuck in ruts forever and ever. And particularly so if we're playing a bit with the progressive config, but we're not going to be doing that just yet. That's going to be when playoffs start, so it's just going to be regular timer for this Metalworks.
Yeah, it's funny you bring up Process, because aren't Process and Metalworks made by the same person?
Whoa, that's way outside of my trivia box here, dude. Okay, you need to reel it back in. Until I see a name on the teleprompter right here in front of my eyeballs, I cannot tell you of anything about anything.
I'm sure someone in chat is going to know the answer to that, but I think they might be made by the same guy, which, you know, interesting little parallel there. Anyway, if you're going to have to put a bit of money down, and by money down I mean a prediction, on what the scoreline could look like in the next 30 minutes when this map has ended, who do you think will be standing on top with 3 points or 2 points if it's golden cap?
I mean, realistically, it probably should go to ALPHAGLΩCK. Like you said, they are one of the stronger teams, or kind of seen as the air quotes prem teams in the top tier season. So it's a pretty safe betting to go with ALPHAGLΩCK, but I am still predicting that Compound are going to give them a competitive game, though, but it's still going to go to ALPHAGLΩCK. For 6-0.
6-0. Oh, 6-0. Both maps. Both maps.
Oh, that's a good point, because we're playing the funny Govan map. You know what? I'm still going to go with a 6-0.
Okay. Fair enough. I guess we'll see. I don't disagree. I think we should be seeing ALPHAGLΩCK taking this fairly handily. But we will see once they actually get started. Gamers are getting keen. They're getting ready. I am curious. I'm curious to see how this demo matchup is going to go. Because obviously, Sneaky's demo actually surprisingly good. Davey, more experience on the class, but he likes to overextend. Every time I've watched him play, he likes to be a little aggressive, a little, you know, more go-getter, and I might bite them a little bit. We'll just see how the team plays around that, I suppose. But gamers are getting started. The first mid-fight, the first rollout shall be underway on Metalworks. Compound in the red, ALPHAGLΩCK in the blue. And we'll see just how this first mid-fight unfolds. It could very well spell the rest of the story for the rest of this map.
All right.
So good.
Step 1 is be quicker than the enemy demo man, and oh my goodness, they were quicker than the enemy demo man. The enemy demo man is dead. But you can usually the counterplay for this is to get out immediately, which is what they opt for on the Compound, or you can just send both your soldiers straight from the get-go and try and make something happen. They couldn't do that, worked out with Peter DC, so they just instead opt to back out quickly.
Yeah, they managed to get Cyrus at the very least, which means that this ALPHAGLΩCK push into second is a bit slow. Ams does go for the bomb in, now onto the medic. Nice couple of rockets. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, he gets away with that fairly easily. Turns out he is back. He is back on Soldier. He's not washed at all. Now they just got to keep Maurice safe. I refuse to say that name that he has currently tagged up in-game, even though that is his ETF2L name. They should really change that one. Anyway, that's a nice little opportunity for ALPHAGLΩCK now, right? They can get second. They can easily get into last as well. It's a full Uber ad. Only 3 players alive. Ray just now spawning, meaning that is a big Uber diss ad as well. So, I mean, Compound can still hold it, but they're gonna have to whip out a miracle, because the Uber's already in, Sentry's taken care of, cap time being put down as well, nobody there to block. Finally, a soldier tries to jump on, but Peter's the only one to even make contact with the point before dying, so yeah, that's a quick round.
Whew, buddy, I guess maybe this is the jump TF stream. No, this is ETF2L. Okay, I thought we were doing a time trial here, my bad. But yeah, that is incredibly clean. I think it was a little bit kind of given up on a silver platter by the Compound in our medic positionings and whatnot. You know, just I think we needed a round to wake up here, certainly.
Yeah, they Clearly they weren't ready for it yet. Now they're dialed in. They know exactly what's going to avoid them, and they're going to have a different mid approach. This time Davey, for instance, doesn't instantaneously die. He's already doing better. And manages to actually get a bit of damage to Cyrus, compromise the positioning. Ams now with a big bomb around, tries to get onto the demo, won't find the target. Peter DC meanwhile dies on the other side. And it's just soldiers trading around. Eventually Cyrus might die here, dangerously low, but lives for the time being. And with Pajaka taken care of, that is the compound's mid truly well and over. Couldn't find a target, but at the very least, once more, they keep themselves alive, keep themselves on second. Crucially, Ray still has an Uber building, but all it takes is one more soldier bomb again, and they're not ready for this time, as Ams already bombs in. Doesn't quite find a target this time, though. And they do have to reset on those. So you find Davey, though, with the cleanup, and there's Storm taken down as well, so they're still gonna be able to push this, and Ams is just leading the charge. Good lord, he is hungry for more. The rest of the team following suit as well. They're already on last.
Yeah, they could probably start pressuring this point immediately. Maki is already standing on it. They're forced to use Uber here to just feel like they can defend it. A nice greedy Uber coming out from Hyman Slayer, so we are going to try and cap off greedily, and yeah, they just don't have enough bodies on point. It's a very low capture on that last point. You can't really just put your hand in the air and block the point. You need to get right on your tippy toes and actually touch it.
Oh, they're putting down some quick rounds. This is starting to look like a little bit of ALPHAGLΩCK dominance here. They are certainly running away with it already. Barely even get much time for any of the players to shine, because a couple of them get some frags on mid, and it kind of just rolls from there. But I suppose we'll see. Maybe there's a compound adjustment here. They take a couple of rounds, and then they find something. Maki having a fast rollout, though, means that Davey can't really get into mid to begin with. We'll have to see if anybody else can find some sort of response here for the side of the compound, get any positioning, maybe an early frag. They lose Storm, a trade out from Maki at the very least. With Davey not being able to follow up much, though, means there's still damage lacking for the compound to really do much with here, so they're just kind of swarming around, putting themselves in harm's way, and eventually getting taken down with Peter now dying. The rest of the team, the combo, at least they're trying to do something, but they're just getting cleaned up on point as well. It's Ray left trying to keep alive. Nice arrow! My goodness! Jesus. Okay. Not enough to really do much, but
I think
you know.
Ray's even going to go down much later as well. A medic, oh my goodness, a medic pet. So look at that respawn difference compared to the rest of the team. Okay, Cerny, I guess you want a breakdown of what's been happening on these mids, and basically I think Davey's being bullied for the first two mids. This last mid went much better just because he was forced to go Valley, and I already was thinking in my head, if they can go Valley, they can survive this, which they did, but then they just kind of got outplayed, sharing a lot of damage, things like that, just scouts dancing around them. The skill difference is kind of showing itself on that third mid.
That said, they are doing an okay job holding this time. The Uber comes in, but it doesn't fight much at all, and they actually lose Juxta now as well on the tail end of it. Everybody went so low, with Maurice so low as well when using his Uber, meaning that, you know, because position is compromised once it fades, and there's actually an opportunity here for the compound to try and get a little bit aggressive in a second. Peter, nice little skip jump out, unfortunately. Not much to follow up with, though. Ams is going to get taken down. Trade out for Feasty on the other side. Varner's still certainly feeling like he can fight this point here, though, and the compound have to give this up, especially with the player down. They cannot commit to the second cap anymore at all. They're gonna have to stick with that in the last. Crucially, though, you're gonna have an Uber, so they're gonna get themselves some time. Get some time to set up. Storm already on the NG, Pajaka on the heavy, so they're in this for the long haul.
I'm a little sad they kind of gave that up, to be honest. They had the Uber advantage still that was going to come their way eventually, and they did trade. They didn't, like, lose out players outright, and they also cleared the initial sort of trap and sticky trap. I mean, that death was the clearing, but still. Oh, Feisty getting jumped, but it's okay, it all works out. A couple of missed rockets from Ams will kind of spell the life for Feasty to get that kill.
That's a little bit of a sack attempt. Sentry's still level 1, by the way. They've been taking their sweet time getting that upgraded, but clearly it doesn't matter. Clearly, you know, even if it gets taken down or spammed or whatever, if you can just keep in it, no problem at all. For the time being, they got this hold on a iron fist here, but the shenanigans are starting. As soon as the game slows down, Varnu picks up the sniper rifle, Pajaka picks it up in response to the defense, and the sniper duel could be quite decisive here. It's a bit of a tough angle into this Metalworks last, but if you can get a hero shot off, or just a nice shot onto a soldier, could have been summoned as well. Not yet, though. Not yet.
Have you heard of Iron Man? Well,
in which context?
Well, in the new sequel, he is going to be called the Iron Med. He stands in the dispenser. That's what I'm trying to say. He stands in the dispenser. He can't get shot. Gets a £20 million movie deal. He is going to be fine, Ray, because they've got the Iron Man strat.
I can see it. Sure, I'll give you that one. It is a nice place to stand. It makes you very, very safe from bombs that could, displace you, put you in a position where sniper could be an issue. It forces the sniper to deep very deep. So, forces quite the aggressive sideline, which makes a sitting duck. I guess we'll see how this goes. Soldier Bomb does come in. AMS unfortunately doesn't find anything, though, except for a sentry death, and maybe that opens things up for a bit of counter aggression, if they're feeling cheeky. Unfortunately, Peter DC immediately pays for that mistake, and they're just going to have to wait this one out a little while longer. Varn is certainly hitting the shots that need to matter here, but the sniper is still on. Pachaka, if you can get this frag onto Varn, it takes a lot of pressure off of the compound. I don't have to worry about nearly as much, but they really have to make sure that they don't fall victim to anything here with the sniper duel still on. Very much hoping, I just sniper really hoping just for something else. They don't really want to fight sniper v sniper. There's a soldier bomb again. AMS comes around, gets loaded, and gets the force. All right, that's what he's looking for. At the end of the day, it's better than nothing. And there you go.
That was a very proactive use of the Uber from Ray. I kind of wonder if maybe AMS was rocking the man treads or something to make that so intimidating and scary, but Uber force has been had. I guess better safe than sorry. Maybe? I don't know. I think I would have been probably maybe a little bit more sorry.
Yeah, I mean, they seem to have a lot of control, so it was probably rocking Ben treads. Also, Mackie did die, so it must have been a double sack. Probably saw the second soldier coming and decided better cut your losses and make sure that you don't compromise yourself too much with some follow-up coming through. That said, this is a full Uber push now for the set of ALPHAGLΩCK. They got to get onto this last, get the sentry down immediately. Now it's just a matter of what else can they do. Can they pressure the point? Can they kill players? Nobody's died quite yet. They're all in spawn. They're not really blocking much, and that's a lot of cap time being put down already. So, matter of fact, with nobody getting to the point in time except the sole soldier trying to block, yeah, that's another round on the board for ALPHAGLΩCK.
Yeah, they had no one to initially take the brunt of all the aggression. Usually that's sort of kind of lined up for your soldiers. They can take and absorb all that and block points at the same time. I think they had it where, Feisty made his way behind and spent so much time just kind of circling around and fighting a sniper when really they could have done with his presence at last itself.
It is unfortunate. Now with 3 rounds up in 10 minutes, which is quite the brisk pace for the ALPHAGLΩCK team to be picking up rounds here. They're putting themselves in another opportunity to get another one as the next mid unfolds. Maybe the compound, though, can find a response here. A little bit of damage to the medic, though, means Ray's already compromised, and that's a nice follow-up there. Both of the soldiers just bombing down onto that medic, making sure no heals are in play. Crucially, though, Slayer does die on the other side. So this is still anybody's game. In terms of numbers, actually, the compound are coming out on... Well, they were coming out on top for this mid. It's a 1v1 now, Pachaka versus Mackie for the midpoint, for the final showdown. And you can't help but think that maybe this favors the scout a little bit. Mackie can hit a couple of good rockets, though. One good direct makes it a trade. And there you go. Nobody wins.
Now it's a true jump.tf race to the mid to see who can get there first. I think the team with the scouts is going to favour us. Look at that Hyman Slayer taxi racing all the way to the midpoint. So they claim it by default. They planted the flag first, but the opposing flag is coming in, barreling in, and already on top of Hyman Slayer. He makes a nice surf jump right into the arms of Peter DC and actually gets shot in the back from the enemy medic. That was Ray. And well, now who's looking foolish now?
Turns out it might be Ray anyway, because Varna's big on the flank and the aggression by AMS as well, making short work of that medic regardless. Even though they cut Hyman Slayer early, they're still gonna have to be sitting at a dis-ad here. I mean, he's not gonna build for a while, but it's still gonna be an ad nonetheless for ALPHAGLΩCK. So the mid is won. The compound, it took them a couple of attempts, but here we are. They win the mid fight part 2. Now they have an opportunity to actually get some map control, get something going. It's a slight dis-ad, but it's not much, and it's certainly workable. It's going to be a bit of slowdown as they're trying to maybe make their way into second, but still, I see it very possible. I think this is an opportunity.
You could use the heals over on Hyman Slayer and company to start pushing out, but I guess they didn't really speed up on that aspect or really want to pounce on that opportunity. And instead, it's kind of on the onus is on the compound. They find the pick onto AMS in alleyway, and they might get the pick onto Cyrus as well. Hyman Slayer is so busy playing Scout Simulator down on the floor that the rest of his patients are losing patience with him.
And they end up just dying and falling to the soldier bomb. So opportunity once more to compound. Keep it rolling forward. Now with the Ubers slowly but surely equalizing. I mean, it's still 20% down, but it doesn't matter. You're not going to push out of last with 3 players down, even if you have ad. So the compound, an opportunity here. Maybe to go for the exchange. Maybe just bully themselves in, get an early force, something like that. Even just a frag Peter DC, so, you know, circling around. Eventually, though, gets traded out with Davey dying as well, only for AMS on the other side. This push isn't happening, and they might have to worry if somebody's feeling cheeky that they will push out. But it looks like ALPHAGLΩCK know that this is Metalworks. They just want to set up on last, hold it for the time being, and see what the compound throw at them instead, as they aren't doing any shenanigans with off classes or anything like that just yet. And I doubt the soldiers have even switched so far. They're not even using anything different, so yeah, we're just going to be waiting.
Alright, I've entered this into the Turbo AI, and beep bap boop, it is telling me that the compound are playing very disjointed. They're very much like, this is the attacking team, this is the defending team. There's not many times they actually help one another kind of protect each other or clear each other out. Maybe because when they do, okay, actually it works out this time. But I thought we were seeing examples like why they don't really like to clump up together so much. They all just kind of take a lot of spam. That was the most optimistic soldier jump during a monologue I've ever seen in my life. Okay, no. Actually, it was just an interesting tactical choice. I have an awful habit of kind of harping on mistakes this season, but I'm a reformed color caster now, okay? That was just a very interesting tactical choice.
It was for the off-class play, clearly. Just so Feasty could switch off to the sniper, and we're gonna see him try to bust this open. It didn't. I mean, it worked eventually for ALPHAGLΩCK, but the sniper wasn't really crucial for them winning that last round. More so just happened that it aided a little bit in the pressure it provided. Now we'll see how Feasty does it on the other side here. Obviously, Juxta picking up the rifle for the defense. Manages to lose that battle, so that's a nice opening now for the compound. If they can get Feasty an angle, perhaps there's a chance here he can get another good target as well. This opens up quite a bit. With, you know, one player missing. That's a deep peek, but he's not finding much of a target at all. Varnu very low, but not even Bodshot is enough. And it's actually just Ubers being used in the meantime. It's a much better one out of Ray, though. Yeah, actually, what is happening here? How are they dying? They immediately send themselves in and just die after the Uber? What? I'm sorry, I've lost.
All that happened there was basically they were hanging about in lobby. They were going to go for those hero shops. AMS decides to get proactive, use the Uber like it's 2008 into lobby. They get chased out by the counter Uber, the scout, but they forget that when they chase them into a sentry gun. And then when they're being fragmented all over the place by that sentry gun, makes it easy pickings for these soldiers and whatnot to kind of play these little areas of the map and then kind of pick them off from it. So basically they did the right play, but they just kind of got overzealous and forgot about the sentry gun.
Good job out of the force spawn. They had that one read like an open book, though. Cyrus shutting that one down immediately, so that's not happening. And it's looking like ALPHAGLΩCK might just be pulling off the easiest coast-to-coast of all time at this rate. I mean, they almost have an Uber ready again. They're already pressuring into second here. There's not much the compound can respond with besides set up on last and pray for the best, because you really have to try and hold this now. As this push is going to be coming in any second. They haven't even capped second yet. The Uber's already being popped off. Maybe an early force here. They do manage to eventually clean up Peter DC, but with both of the soldiers low, this point pressure is going to be a bit compromised. Eventually, they do manage to get Juxta onto it, though, which does pull players in, but crucially, everybody's dying. Hyman Slayer goes down, which means no heals, no staying power for ALPHAGLΩCK here. As long as they can keep Ray safe on the other side, which they do, there you go. It's a one hold for the compound, and they can actually get this all the way back to mid, probably, if they move quickly enough.
Yeah, that was well played by Peter DC. Not only did he have the thankless job of forcing the enemy Uber, because there was no sort of preparations to deal with that Uber, but also kite a little bit of it and get some good damage against Mackie to kind of start off the fight with. And also, they seem to be a bit more in sync about blocking this point, so there is some recovery here on the compound.
We're seeing growth in real time. Now we'll see how they approach this mid push as well. They have that full Uber to deal with. It is about 50% ad at this rate, as Hyman Slayer's been building, but it's going to be down to how they get in here. Ray already eating a little bit of damage and being spread thin on the heals, with DC going down as well, not going to make it any easier. Peter DC go for the high bomb, gonna have to settle for the soldier target as it's straight out for Storm, though, so Oh, not looking good for Davey either. He just about escaped, but that's with a
he's
flash.
so dead. Oh, thank goodness for crossbows.
No.
Oh, thank
Oh,
goodness for crossbows. He is literally being drip-fed
anyway.
crossbows. I'm pretty sure his breakfast is just needles.
Yeah, he's dead anyway. Isn't that unfortunate? It's a true tragedy, really. Ray hitting all those amazing arrows and it doesn't even matter. And your teammates die anyway. If anything, you're delaying the inevitable. Now another Uber comes through for ALPHAGLΩCK, and this is a beautiful last push attempt. There's already so much cap time. Nobody can even get to the point in time. It's clean. It's easy. You win on second. You push last. It's happened many a time before on this map. They pull it off once more. Now they're on match point, and we still have 12 minutes left.
It's a shame with the compound there where they were making the push out. There were elements that they were doing correctly, like they realized that if they push people out of Valley, they can then circle through the connector to get into lobby and then maybe pick off Mackie, who's overextended holding that area. But everything just feels about 3 or 5 seconds way too late. It should almost feel automatic, like you can smell blood in the air. They're like, what Mackie's still doing there? He's a free pick, and then you just rush to him. But it just takes way too long for these ideas to form in the head of compound. The mid is much better though.
Yeah, they're doing mighty fine this time around. Couple of frags already. Crucially, the demo. No, not the demo. Sorry, Varnu on the engineer going down.
That's why.
That's why it's a bit messy. All right, I see. ALPHAGLΩCK are starting to have a bit of a fun time. I see. Well, it's a 1 mid nonetheless. The compound managing to, show that they are still taking it seriously. They're still fighting in this, and theoretically, you can totally get 4 rounds in 12 minutes. It's absolutely doable. Will it happen? It's ambitious, but they can certainly put something on the board here and get themselves a bit of a morale boost. Headed into their map pick anyway. We'll see though how this last push attempt goes, as the sentry is still only a mini kind, and Davy's trying his best to take down the engineer. Eventually, Cyrus will be the one to fall on the side of ALPHAGLΩCK, which means no demo for this defense. And if Davy escapes, which he just about doesn't, unfortunately, but Peter DC going down as well means that this second is actually gonna be quite hard to hang on to. And Jux is just chasing out the remaining players means that is gonna be retaken.
I'm curious though. I don't know what the intention was with using the Uber on Ray and company. Did they think they had advantage? Like, why was it taken like that at all? Like, usually you kind of account for like the medic being alive, and they could have popped at any moment there. They actually did them a favor by just popping so proactively over on Hyman Slayer, and that's all I'm seeing right now. I think ALPHAGLΩCK is just like, they're basically on cruise control right now. They're hands off the wheel, they're reading a magazine and not really taking things too seriously at this point. They're allowing the compound to catch up, and even then the compound is tripping over a rock and falling on their face, and then the brain has been split open, and it's a real shame, because there are little tiny bits of like a top team in here, but they just seem so clumsy with their decision makings and their plays.
Yeah, I mean, feeding 2 players who just Jux Jux is having a good match, but still, just being in the backline, just running up on your medic, running up on your scout, just easily diffing them, isn't gonna make it any easier. They're still in control of this map so far. Ams with a big bomb, though, directly onto the medic. Yep, that's a clean, easy pickings for him. Even if he dies for his troubles, that is impact. That is exactly what you're looking for. And even if your team now has to fight for his life on second, which Varn is doing a good job at already, that's a couple of frags, so and making it ever so much harder for the compound, and they haven't even capped second yet. They might have a chance to get into last, but there's a full Uber waiting for them, and Cyrus might just take it all alone. He knows that there's a right click that can bail him out at any moment, and as long as second isn't capped, they don't have to worry about the flank from behind, though that is exactly what Davy's trying to accomplish. Wraps back around onto the point. Just gotta get a little bit more cap time. Will eventually have to escape with his life.
Okay, that sums up. That sums up the compound right there. That is the most compound play I've seen so far. Davy just going into a random flank, trying to take this fight against a buff demo man when everybody is about to respawn. Doesn't even go for the medic, and then craters to his own death when he didn't even jump. Like, this, I'm pretty sure it's 5-0 in their hearts. They're out of it. They're disconnected. They just want this map to be over.
Yeah, I can see that. At this rate, they've been getting kind of shellacked. It's very easy to understand why they might just thinking about the next one, thinking GG go next and all that stuff. Still, might just make ALPHAGLΩCK fight for it a little bit more. At the end of the day, we still see bombs happening. We still see attempts at glory here as well, they're shutting down AMS fairly confidently. Now they just have to deal with the rest of the combo coming through Valley here as well. Feast eats a lot of damage, though. Will probably be done for in that regard as the Uber comes through on the flank side. Very interesting. Stormber's kind of taking it solo forward, managing to pick up Mackie. Now Conruber obviously comes out the side of ALPHAGLΩCK and cleans up the entire combo, left unattended. This is a terrible situation for the compound to be in. There's Ray taken care of as well, so even if there was some sort of escape to last, it's certainly going to be without the medic, and with both of the scouts taken down in tandem. Yeah.
Oh, this is... I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated, Cerny. I'm angry. Should I tell you why? I don't think it's not even because the compound are like failing in certain aspects and all this stuff. I don't even really think they're trying. I seriously don't think they're concentrating at all. They are just kind of entered this sort of lull state of like autoplay, and they're not even more so than, dare I say, ALPHAGLΩCK, who are running like random engineers and like just taking random fights and all this stuff. They can't seriously go back to me and show me some of these plays and think like, I think this is good, because some of these are bafflingly questionable, and I'm really annoyed actually. Oh, okay. Alright, I need to just have a little mental reset here. I'm sure it must be very frustrating where the game kind of sails away with from you a little bit, but there's just aspects that just look so weird. Oof. But we're still playing, we're still fighting on.
I mean, it's a big bomb by the soldiers there to get that frag onto Heimenster. Matter of fact, they're killing a lot. They're getting away with a lot of frags here. It's only Varnu and Mackie left alive, and they're getting some damage into Ray, but they won't get the frag. They won't clean that up unless Varnu manages to sneak his way in there. He's still behind, but they're aware. They know that that scout was there. They was fighting them a second ago, so they know that he's gonna be there. They have to worry about him. Maybe have a respawn to take care of him. We'll see. He's still only on 60 health, so gonna have to be careful. But it is Varnu we're talking about, so we'll have to see, right? That said, for now he's a liability for ALPHAGLΩCK, because he's not really contributing much to trying to hold off this attacking team, who has a full Uber ad and is waiting, rearing to take it forward, put a round on the board, get themselves a morale boost, or at least some sort of consolation prize, right? Even though they've been making mistakes all around. Like this back cap on mid, for instance, and getting headshot on second certainly doesn't help, but they're still going to be able to outcap it in time. 4x on second is faster.
Ham's got the block. Oh, with a nice air shot though from Feasty, and they will get the capture. They had to use Uber charge for it though, so now they're going to get ushered out by the rest of it. And Varnu's still there on mid to kind of come in and pincer it. I am a little surprised that there wasn't a scout in time to reconnect on that. Yeah, it was a good idea to stick around and actually make the capture. I think they definitely could have done that. Whether or not they needed to pop for it, though, is maybe a bit questionable.
We're scared of the sniper, probably, considering it did get 2 kills on the point. The Mackie sniper did frag a couple,
but that Uber is the only thing that's keeping your entire team in, power in flux. If you spend it like that, they're just going to rain fire on you. They didn't even have to use their own Uber to like rain fire against them.
Maybe they won't get to, as Peter DC benches a bomb across the point. A couple of good frags onto Mackie and Varnu, but crucially can't quite get the target he wants. Gets only the force out of Heimenster, who's just getting bounced around like a pinball. But crucially, they're still moving forward with it anyway. Well, at least they're trying to, because the back cap out of Pajaka means that is a lot of cap time on Lost, and that forces the rest of ALPHAGLΩCK back, whatever they can do. A couple of respawns coming as well. Am's really trying to catch people off guard here, but ultimately just dying. And this is such a nice opportunity for the compound. A nice shot there onto Varnu as well means that this is such an easy cap to round out. There's such a little time left. Ray is the one to stand on the point and get it. And there you go.
Yeah, well done to the compound for getting the round. I obviously it was actually a good chase. It was a good chase against Hyman Slayer. I'm a little surprised Cyrus didn't want to opt to get their medic out, but I then started debating, what do I prefer at last? Do I prefer a demo man or do I prefer a medic? And I was actually, I was kind of fine a little bit with either scenario, but maybe they could have just played a bit greedy there with Cyrus and tried to get both out, but instead he was like, nah, Hyman, you're dead. I'm just going to go straight back.
And the back caps worked out wonderfully. Look at that. Compound put around on the board. It suddenly looks a lot less terrible. That said, though, 3 more in 4 minutes. Looking like a bit of a tall order, and with the way this mid is going, especially with Ray down, meaning no heals for the remaining players, as they just try to escape with their lives. Davey just absolutely annihilated in lobby. It's only Pajaka left alive, and, well, he is hiding, but he gets spotted instantaneously as they enter, and that's all she wrote. ALPHAGLΩCK trying to finally round us out, make us not waste the last few minutes of our lives, as we're going to go into the next map. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of interesting things happening there. But maybe this last hold still goes somewhere. I mean, Uber's out. There's a chance that it doesn't accomplish anything. We have seen ALPHAGLΩCK beef this.
AMS showing why many soldiers don't like hanging out on the point on that window. And they do a good job of focusing fire over on ALPHAGLΩCK, but they still got enough in the tank to all synchronize against this heavy weapons guy? I think
yes,
they do.
They do.
Despite the crossbows, and 5-1 is the score. I feel like Compound, if you are reading this back a bit, or watching this back a bit, I am sorry, I would say, getting frustrated. Like, what entitles me to get this angry? But I only get this angry because I think there is, like, better in this team. I think there is some good little bits and tidbits and stuff like that. But then there just seems to be these, I don't know, almost like a glazed look of what they're doing, what they want to accomplish. I don't feel like everyone's on the same page. It feels almost like mix-like a little bit. And maybe that's because it is. Maybe this is actually a lot more of a fresh lineup than I'm used to. I know obviously Davey is a different name in this team for this map at least. And I know obviously they don't have Faust, they have Ray as well. Maybe this is obviously just on recovery mode for Compound and it's got to be hard. So if that is the case, then Compound, maybe I'm being a bit too harsh. But otherwise, I still think there's like better TF2 to be had here, but you just all need to focus a bit more, I think.
Yeah, I think you really hit the nail when you say that the two substitutions might be of impact here. At least you can always cope on that, right? Oh, this match would have gone completely differently if they had their two main players that they usually play with, right? At the end of the day, as good as Davey and Ray are, potentially, just on paper, they probably haven't played with a team as much this season, right? So naturally, that's gonna, create a bit of friction, make it not as easy to work around it. Either way, there's some stats. There's honestly not much to talk about. ALPHAGLΩCK just kind of dominated. The scouts went haywire. AMS just did monstrous amounts of work, damage, space created. It's Mackie doing even more. It's quite something.
Sony, have you ever heard of a compliment sandwich?
Mm-hmm.
It's where I basically deliver the bad news in between two slices of good, to kind of make it a bit more digestible. And basically, yes, you've had the meat immediately, so here's your bread. I still think that was a very hard game for the Compound based on the style of team they're playing against. I think ALPHAGLΩCK are very, very outplay. They love just making stuff happen while you're trying to make things happen. I don't think there's ever a time where they are not playing a greedy play. And by what I mean by greedy play is like they're going to make a play happen at the same time, even if they are at a disadvantage. So AMS will make that skirmish jump behind and fight a player behind while you have uber advantage. They will have a scout that just runs in and passes in when you're trying to make a push. And they will have like some random shenanigans going on, or they'll go for that back cap and all this stuff. And it must be very annoying as well, because if you haven't got like a fresh lineup that has the communications in order, it's really hard to kind of put a brakes on some of these plays and like turn around and deal with all that stuff when maybe it just takes so much coordination just to get it going in the first place. So I will say like that's hard luck for the kind of team that Compound are playing tonight. That sucks for them, because obviously they'll swap out of pings. And my second compliment piece of bread is they're going to be playing Govan. They're going to have good morale on this map because they beat Gremlins on it. It's a new map, and any team, if you ever played Team Fortress 2, where you have a new map enter and you get a good streak on this map, you can almost make it feel like it's your home territory. You have this like almost invincible quality that you think like, oh yeah, nobody else knows how to play this map like we do, and that confidence can make you play wonderfully compared to these other teams that just kind of sign it off. And I can definitely see a team like AMS where they're just like, nah, this map is rubbish, I'm not going to focus on it that hard, I'm just going to vibes every week every time I see it.
Yeah, no, that's a very fair assessment. To use the analogy for the Football World Cup happening, right? It's like they're hosting it. They're hosting this match. It's very much a home field advantage if they've played it much. That said, we don't know at all how ALPHAGLΩCK feel about this map. For all we know, maybe they have been scrimming it, right? Maybe they have been playing it a lot off outside of officials or something like that. There's certainly a chance. It's always possible that they could have just been doing that, and now they're going to surprise us. And there's going to be like a Varnu engineer coming out to the mid fight on the point, and then turns out there's like some crazy, insane sentry spot somewhere that just completely shuts down the entire map, right? If there's one person that I would trust to figure that out, it would be Varnu.
Yes, you do bring up a good point. Varnu is, I would say, one of the more interesting players when it comes to entering the laboratory and just like, mixing the beakers with all the strats and the clever ways and the ideas and all this stuff. I've never really talked to Varnu about new maps in particular. It's mainly been like unlocks and preset map configurations. So I'm very interested to see if he has got any tools set up for this, or if it's just how it plays in general, because this is my first time seeing Govan. I've seen some opinions already flux about this map, and I've seen a little bit on Highlander, but I want to see how it actually plays out with these two teams, because these are obviously two different teams and two different power levels compared to like the Gremlins and the compound game from previous.
Yeah, I suggest you keep your eyes on the soldiers, because there's going to be a lot of flanking happening here. There's a lot of very wide flanks that are far apart that it's easy to slip into, and I think we're going to see a lot of stuff out of the soldiers from both sides here. And we'll see how they approach this. The first mid fight goes underway. Am's immediately going for a high bomb through choke, actually. Settling for the arch side, seeing if he can maybe diff the scout. Unfortunately for him, though, he gets taken down, as did Mackie, so this opens things up nicely for the compound, actually, as they lose a couple of frags themselves, mind you. They lose their soldiers, they lose their demo, but they still have a bit of point control, and they're actually getting the cap time down at least a little bit before the ALPHAGLΩCK wraparound comes back. Manages to bully them away, but point flips, and this is a slow cap to slow point to cap, so that time is going to be taken at least for a little bit. Maybe they can even get back in rather quickly. Ubers are still roughly equal at the end of the day, so possibilities.
So the trends I'm seeing so far is both teams are somewhat aware of a rollout or preferred rollout for these teams. They both rolled out the same way. They both lost soldiers in the same sort of manner. I think they actually reconnected better over on the compound. I say that now, I've kind of signed Peter DC to die in the flank there, but in the earlier mid, that was better. I was only lost because I think Davey just pushed across too soon, too early on his own.
Yeah, I guess we'll see how they approach this refight as the exchange goes underway on point. Lots of flashing happening for ALPHAGLΩCK, and that means Mackie eventually dies trapped outside of it. We'll see the Uber fades a little bit later for the compound. They have slightly better positioning. They are on their side, though. It's a messy back and forth. But it is frags falling in favor of the compound, of ALPHAGLΩCK, and they are finding quite a few crucial ones as well. It's only Ray and a scout really left here trying to, stay alive, and they do. They managed to reconnect with their respawners, so managed to, solidify themselves in that yard area. Now it's just a matter of, will they actually get to the point? Because they never got to the point, never got much cap time down at all. They have to try and actually flip this, and with a soldier in the backlines, I believe. Yeah, that is Mackie. They have to worry about that too. Doesn't go hit the direct, unfortunately, so he's not going to be able to clean that up, and the scout chasing down a kill only trades out for the soldier himself, so far so good for the compound. Back in control of the point. Shorted down a minute, but this point can stay in control of one team for a very long time.
Yeah, what I've noticed is obviously that mid capture is awfully slow to the point where I think demos are automatically set on I need to stay around this point, I need to keep it well blocked and damaged, when I think you can actually forego this point and leave it alone for a little bit and come and assist your teammates, because usually if you find any people that are behind, they're very far away from their teams, and so if you can kind of reconnect to them, you can get some easy fights going.
Yeah, as you say, that exchange goes across point. Nothing really found with it. Ams dies on one side, Pajaka now on the other, as Ams already respawns, but that's all she wrote on that one, and it's going to be more down to this dry fight. Davey eating a lot of damage means that this is going to be a bit harder for the compound, though. They're eating a lot. They're getting pressured back into the stroke area. Nice little rocket there out of Peter DC to shut down Juxta. And with the point flipping, Peter dying as well. Still, time was rather equalized. They caught up quite well inside the compound, and now it's going to be another opportunity. Once those Ubers come back up, I'm sure that they will find themselves trying to push in here once more. Though, guess we'll see how ALPHAGLΩCK try to hold it on the other side. They're certainly ready for soldiers coming their way and seeing what they can block. So far, so good. They're certainly not dying themselves and keeping everybody healthy. Although, there goes Pajaka on the side of compound. And the Uber is a little bit faster for ALPHAGLΩCK. Ray doesn't quite have yet. She's still about 10% off and gonna have to worry about getting chased out. Fortunately for her, looks like Varnu was ready to be rung back. and aware that that Uber's going to fade too quickly, and ALPHAGLOCK will be sitting ducks up on the timer as well. They can just wait this one out and now sit on this, well, this ad and see how this goes, as it's an early force for the compound, and they're going to have to really make mountains move with this one.
Yeah, they're trying to get the chase onto Hyman Slayer. Can't really reconnect in time. They will have to settle for the point. Peter DC, nice crossbow from Ray, keeping Peter alive. And they might just need to back off here because they're going into the waiting arm. Cyrus does go down, however. And yeah, maybe just a bit too much trying to force Hyman Slayer to get that Uber control underway for the compound. I feel like if they simplified the gameplay a little bit over on the compound and just tried to help each other in the fights on their half of the map and take it one at a time, I think they'd have a much better time. But right now they're spread really thin. But yeah, this is, I'm up for correction here. This is still very new to me as much as it is to these players.
Yeah, they certainly still have opportunities. It's by no means over. Sure, they're down on the Uber, but all it takes would be one good frag. Unfortunately for them,
that's
flag. Yeah, that's a good flank. They even managed to keep Hamster alive as well. He's not going to die to any stray spam just yet unless his bomb. No, he's just going to right-click. Fair enough. It is a force, but it is a forward hold still out of ALPHAGLOCK, and they don't have to worry about it because Ubers are still equal at the end of the day. They have 10 seconds left on the clock, and well, 5 seconds now, and it's just going to be over. There's nobody even close to putting any cap time on for the compound.
Davies on it.
Just about.
Oh,
yeah.
nice pipe from Cyrus. Okay, I'm starting to see a little bit of the patterns here. I think that that concrete area over on the left or the right or whatever perspective you're looking at, very, very abusable by these soldiers to get a jump onto a medic. It's very hard to kind of clamp out and get away from that area. Plus also, even if you get a good, fantastic surf off onto Hyman Slayer or Ray, it's very easy just to plonk the wall and just finish off a kill. But it's, yeah, you also get initial height. It's a very dangerous area, I think. You need to be very safe before you can move your medic out.
And that has so far not been suiting the compound. That said, it's only one round, another one on...
Brilliant.
On the round now, and look at that. They shut down the soldiers beautifully outside of the compound already. They lose Feasty eventually, but still, surely they can just play the numbers here. Take care of this point slowly but methodically, as they would once want to do. And look at that. They get the point cap first once more. And they're probably going to hang on to it for more than just 10 seconds this time around, as ALPHAGLOCK are going to try to bully their way back in here. Cyrus already leading the charge a little bit, but ultimately he has to wait for his team, has to, you know, contend with the fact that Davies doing damage as well, and it's going to be follow-up coming out of the compound sooner rather than later. Peter DC trying to shut down the flanks. Nice little air shot. Oh, it gets a double, actually. Okay. Alright, we take those. It is an exchange, meanwhile, on the point, and looking like with a little bit more flashing, ALPHAGLOCK will have to fade sooner. Much rather... I'll have to refight this in the driveway. They have a lot of cap time, though. And oh, no, they're going to round that one out just yet.
This is nice. This is good from the compound. I feel like they're linking up way better on these fights and helping each other out. And I feel like Peter has got a nice flow of knowing when to break off from the group and play against these flanks. I think what's giving him the edge is he doesn't do it all the time. There's many times that he'll go back and help his team, but when he feels like it's gone into a lull or a bit of a state, Peter will go on to a little flanking adventure. And I think what's nice about this map is there's not an obvious choice where this flank's going to come from.
Yeah, you can go either side through the arches and just catch somebody off guard like this. What a beautiful just charge forward. Doesn't quite hit the rockets, but just turning eyes back. And, you know, hitting a little bit of damage to the Hyman Slayer, completely destroying the positioning for ALPHAGLOCK for a bit here. Meaning that this pressure onto point is going to be delayed even longer. They still haven't flipped the cap. It's 1 minute and a half off the clock already. Uber's being exchanged once more. Hyman Slayer milking it nicely, but eventually using as well for a better Uber out of ALPHAGLOCK. But compound don't have to worry about it. They're not really being chased by it at all. Juxta might find a frag onto a Soul Soldier here, but... just about cleans that up before getting traded himself.
Davey.
And now Davey, big damage. Nice kill there onto the soldier.
He needs to reconnect with his team, though. He is. Very nice. And Vanu is going to get picked off because of this as well. They're looking a little lost over on ALPHAGLOCK. So much so that I lost memory of the name.
Yeah, look at that. They're just not finding much at all. Compound just locking this point down. Completely building up the wall. Not letting anything slip by. And it's been working wonderfully for them. Uber's still roughly equal, but it's not going to be in play for a while, and if Cyrus just gets caught here, give God forgive. No, it does live. It's going to be both the soldiers actually taken care of, and maybe that's the opening they really need with the compound soldiers now out of the equation. There's Ams with the bomb. Yeah, this is rough already. Directly onto Ray. That's exactly what he was looking for, and the point is finally going to flip for ALPHAGLOCK.
Yeah, it feels like when they're going strong over on the compound, it is strong. It is like really well played. They like connecting with each other and helping each other in the fights. I feel like I've been saying that all game. But when things start going wrong and awry, I don't think they know how to change gear. Their kind of cut of losses or their defense is non-existent.
Yeah, like we saw those soldiers go down, and they should have immediately turned back and just gone away. Unfortunately for them, they just kind of got caught in choke, and now it's going to be ALPHAGLΩCK. That's crucial for the compound, you know. They're up by 2 minutes, basically, on this timer. So unless this goes awry for 2 minutes straight, which, well, with this Uber coming in and Ray already doing a lot of damage, it will compromise the positioning a little bit, but crucially staying alive. Shoots basically as a sack wave. They managed to find one scout with it, but hey, it's better than nothing, and PWC still managed to slip out here. They don't actually know that he's forward. They haven't figured out that Feasty manages to slip behind as well to the enemy side. So these soldiers, again, making a bit of work here. Feasty and Peter really showing that they treat this as their home ground. They're having a lot of fun going all over the place. Eventually, though, I mean, nobody knows Feasty's here. He's just being a tourist. He's just observing the sights.
Feasty got a delivery? Like, okay.
Oh, there you go. Nice little bomb across. Can't quite get the frag, but eventually cleanup comes through. There you go. There you go. Nice.
Yeah, syncs up with the Uber as well, so he times it alongside his team. I like this coordination. This is a very different compound. And maybe this just goes to show the morale ability of a new map can bring, Cerny. This feels completely like a different compound team, and they just see the effort putting into their plays and the coordination. This is much better. I love it, compound.
Govan Merchants, after all, this is what they have been practicing. This is their map, and they're making it. They're making it their grounds. What else can they do here, though? Will we be able to hang on to this for much longer? It's overtime already, and even if ALPHAGLΩCK flip it.
Oh, Davey, sadly, like that obviously that capture was going to go into overtime no matter what. I don't think realistically you were going to defend it back, so why block it for that half a second? It doesn't really do too much. It's not about respawners or anything. And they lose somebody on the flank trying to enter through. I think maybe just to keep things safe over on the compound from any sort of super flanks from ALPHAGLΩCK.
Oh, Ray pretty low. They gotta worry. They gotta, you know, be careful about that, because this is a couple of choke points they're trying to get through here, probably for the exchange. But Ray getting caught early would have been a disaster. Crucially, doesn't happen. They're gonna be able to get themselves another opportunity here to go for an exchange, get something across, open things up maybe a little bit. Probably waiting on
Pujaka. It's been picked off. They're banking on their flank team. Yeah, they're banking on their flank team, basically, to come in and maybe make something happen. And they have been forced, but they just counter over on ALPHAGLΩCK here. And this is dangerous territory now. There's 35 seconds left. And I think if you just need to blob up and just start taking trades, I'm pretty sure there's still sort of a respawn advantage. So trades in situations like this is very beneficial. So even if just going blob versus blob, it can still work out. I think what's hard about this is basically how much work Cyrus could do. But they're going to go in, and they are kind of blobbing up a little bit at each other. The focus fire is being absorbed very nicely, and they're healing the right people at the right time. And, it just goes down just from the defender's advantage here. They just do a very nice job over on ALPHAGLΩCK by just kiting those players that were initially going aggressive. I think this is probably the moment where they needed just one flanker, and then maybe that would have been enough to kind of turn some heads. Oh, it just had it slip through their fingers, and all I think back is just to that overextension from Davey when they could have just backed off and then like attacked them a bit more synchronized and defended it in that way rather than just having to go in, raw and, completely from scratch, basically.
Yeah, we also see just Peter DC trying to move mountains there, but he only has so many rockets to shoot at so many players, so not quite happening towards the tail end there. Still, much better performance out of the compound. That is a round that could have gone their way, very much so, slipping away at the last second. So they're in this to fight this. There's certainly still an opportunity to pick up some rounds here, perhaps a map, and we'll see how this goes. For now, they're cleaning up Mackie, nice and easy, so that already opens things up ever so slightly for them to try and get away with more towards the next parts of this fight over the point, with the cap going their way as well, slowly but surely. They're going to be in control first again, it seems, but I'm not seeing much out of ALPHAGLΩCK just yet. They're taking it slow, they're taking it steady. Losing Varnu, actually, probably making it, they have to take it even slower and even steadier.
Yeah, you can see which sections of the map that they don't feel really comfortable on over on ALPHAGLOCK. Like areas that a scout doesn't really think about, where am I strong in and where am I weak against. Like that area there, very hard for your team to kind of reconnect and help you out.
This is a difficult one, and yet the compounds seem to have it all unlocked for now. They know what to do. Seeing a lot more pressure on the arch side here for ALPHAGLOCK, seeing if they can bust through on his flank side. And well, in the meantime, an exchange happens on the point. Lots more flashing for, well, the side of compound, but ultimately they fade it around the same time. And let's see how ALPHAGLOCK try to approach this post fight. It is messy. It's all over the place. PWDC meanwhile taken down on the backlines as Mackie bombs across, but just trades himself out effectively. Cyrus pressured back, Barnu dying. Things are opening up again for the compound here, with a bit of cap time being put down, but crucially you can't cap on top of that little platform. So you have to actually, you know, stand on the low ground, make yourself a sitting duck, and there you go. A minute off the clock for the compound. ALPHAGLOCK finally flipped the point. They managed to clean up a couple of frags now as well, and once they get control of ALPHAGLOCK, that's when they become scary. They struggle to get into this point sometimes, but once they have it, that's when it gets a little dicey for the compound.
I have noticed that the ALPHAGLOCK are much better at backing off. Like, remember, all of this started off with just ALPHAGLOCK just realizing, oh, I haven't really got the ability to keep outputting on this fight. We're one player down. Let's just back out and just take it one by one. Like, look, now they managed to get this back in like over a minute, whilst previously for poor compound, it took them like 2.
Yeah, so we'll see how long they can hold on to this. Am's charging forward a little bit, but ultimately they're just locking down the stroke. Uber's gonna come through, actually. Very aggressive out of the compound. Obviously, much later pop for Hyman Slayer, and it's gonna be a much better Uber for ALPHAGLOCK, seeing if they can find anything that's not caught in the Uber storm. Not really finding anything, though, and it is just gonna reset itself. What is supposed to be fighting up? Pajaka being the first to be taken down. Feasty not quite nailing the air shot, unfortunately, means that is not gonna be a frag fallen just yet. And they lose Ray, which means no heals, which means the compound really have to either find the crucial frag now on someone at Hyman Slayer, or cut their losses and get the hell out of Dodge, which looks like the remaining team has done, although they do have somebody still trying to edge the cap at least a little bit. At the end of the day, it is a slow one. You gotta make some progress, and well, it's not quite working out, is it? Davey and Pajaka go down. Peter DC trying to bomb in, but just gets shut down instantly, and it's starting to look like ALPHAGLOCK have figured out the map, figured out their playbook.
Yeah, they're playing to the strengths here, which seems to be ALPHAGLOCK is kiting, and over on the compound, it's more just whether or not they can reconnect on these fights, but they're just playing a lot more tighter chain now over on ALPHAGLOCK. I think they're telling their teammates, like, okay guys, stop taking these fights, stop taking these skirmishes. You're usually very good at this on other maps, but there's just something in the air about this particular Govan map that they're just not really feeling strong about it. They will go in and force the Uber out of Hyman Slayer now, and Ray is all the way back at last, so this is basically a sack wave. But that's more time shredded from the clock. I don't think you're going to be crying a tear if you're on ALPHAGLOCK.
Yeah, you're up a minute at the end of the day. Even if the Uber comes in now, it's going to be plenty of time before they can truly cap out the point. The cap time has faded away quite a bit, so compound have to move quite a bit here. They have to make something happen. That's a nice little rocket to deny scalp, but ultimately you lose your demo while you even have the Uber out, so it's not looking good already. It's just falling apart right at the start. Sure, they got a couple of frags. They're finally going to flip, but look at the timer difference. They have to now hang on to this for so long. And with, you know, people just now coming back up, ALPHAGLOCK obviously having much better Uber now as well. It's gonna be a tough one. It's an uphill battle for sure. Unless they can get something down with these nice little sack waves. Where they get 3.
Good crunch.
They get 4. Alright. And that might be a medic getting chased out as well. They do get Hyman Slayer. There you go.
Oh, wow. Oh my god. Well done, compound. Like, I guess this is probably one of the more harder aspects of the map. I can see what you mean by it's very tempting to try and get these forward holds going, but it probably seems really difficult to pull off. But I was a little worried that they outplayed him by just kind of baiting out Hyman Slayer and taking away from that. Oh, Ray's been stuck over there. Why is Ray over there on their own?
Naki just managed to get away with that. The sole survivor of that initial wave seized the initiative. Ray left unattended. Now Priesty trying to do the same. Unfortunately, there's players defending the medic this time around, so not getting away with that one for free. And it looks like ALPHAGLOCK might just have a prime opportunity now to get themselves back onto this point. The Uber ad isn't that massive, but they just have to cap. They have so much time left, well, on the side of compound in comparison, that they just have to hang on to this point for 15 more seconds, and it will be curtains. It will be map point. It will be over. ALPHAGLΩCK will take home everything they can. The compound, well, they have to fight for it. They certainly have to still try. Storm going down early doesn't make it any easier, though. Ams across the point as well. Nice kill there onto Davey, and with that, nobody else really did a cap. That's 3-0.
I know it's a 3-0 on the scoreboard, but honestly, in my heart, that was a closer game, and I just like the... Maybe I'm reading way too much into the gameplay, but like the attitude turnaround, it feels like there's plays, there's belief, there's actual teamwork in this Team Fortress 2, and it's really nice to see. Obviously, well done to ALPHAGLΩCK. You could see the adaptation and the core principles kind of helping with them, mainly their defensive posture and like how to kite these Ubers or where to stand as well. If Hyman Slayer is the one that's calling out where they want to hang around and like play in defense, I much prefer his take on it, where he's playing this open grass area rather than like some of the more bunkery style places that Ray wants to opt for. I think bunker, personally, I would say is a bit better for areas where you have all the sight line or you have much more control of the choke points, because it's much harder for, you could always just bunker in when only one player is let loose, but there's just way too much that can go on this map, I think, to kind of not let one soldier get slip by, and then suddenly that bunker isn't protecting you, it's protecting the soldier that's jumping on your medic.
Yeah, it's also just hard to see what's coming your way, right? As you mentioned, you gotta see everything, and the map is so big but not very open. A lot of flanks that things are just gonna suddenly appear from. Doesn't make it any easier. In the meantime, you can see the stats on the screen. Both Pajaka and Varnu having monstrous matches clearly on the scout, just kind of top damaging amongst the two of them. As well, you don't see the impact that Peter and Feasty were having on the logs as much. Sure, Peter did a lot of damage, but man, those are some soldier just bombing in and having impact score lines, aren't they?
Yeah, those are, I think, scores from recovery mode, where things have gone south and now the soldiers need to jump in, but ALPHAGLΩCK are very good at just holding certain areas and then preventing that. I think the real difference here is the difference between Ray and Hyman Slayer. I think, obviously, the depth between medics is important on this. I think the flow of that as well. I think you could see a bit of rust, is probably not a good word to use, but rust for ALPHAGLΩCK. I think they were a bit confused where each other were or where these enemies were standing. It felt like obviously the callouts are probably not the sharpest on this map, because there's a lot of areas that people could be just fighting miscellaneously in, and you're not entirely sure how to call that out to your team and get them to reconnect quickly. But I think it got better. I think they managed to figure things out with that, or at least not play into those sorts of entrappings too much. But yeah, I think it just purely came down to where they were keeping their medics and when they were baiting out their medics as well when pushing out.
Yeah. It worked well enough. ALPHAGLΩCK now proving that, yes, they are indeed the better team, and, maybe not as much on the Swiss bracket after all. You were saying, like, oh, clearly these teams must be somewhat even, but it doesn't always work out that way. It looks like these are two different classes, after all, of teams, and we'll see how they go on for the rest of the season, really.
Now, for the real question here, Cerny, do you want to know my verdict on this map? This is my first time seeing Govan. I've obviously seen little tidbits and clips and Highlanders and stuff like that, but you're going to be surprised. I think I actually like it. Now, I'll tell you the reason why. Like, the reason is because it plays very differently. It's not I'm Viaduct 2. It's not Bagel 2. Sure, there's like little bits and bobs. Yes, though, okay, there's a nipple on the point and all this stuff, but, the point cap's so slow. The areas are it's just really big. You can't stick to usual sort of spreadage of players and not have that go unpunished a little bit. There's no easy answers. There's no simple template that you can just kind of plop on top of this map that you're used to doing on other King of the Hills or the 5 CPs. And that's interesting. I think that is certainly interesting. I would like to see a bit more, interesting takes, maybe even set up plays. Maybe I'll even learn the name for some of these places.
You'll learn the call outs. Wouldn't that be something?
That would be something.
It is novel. It is novel for sure. And we have yet to really see like a top tier matchup or like, like top of the division matchup, because the only matches I've seen were perpetuated basically by the compound on this map, and they're not a top tier team. So I do wonder how it would look and how the map would play once some of the better, more established teams that have the baseline at a higher level get their hands on it and try out different things. And who knows, maybe it will stick around for a few seasons and we will see more of it and teams are actually going to have to play it more frequently. It's always possible. But for the time being, that is it for this one, right? We don't know. We don't know if anybody else is ever going to want to play this again. We've only seen the compound, and that's it.
Well, hopefully maybe someone has heard my testimony, whether or not the Prem players even care after every time they flick on the TV and they're like, oh, Turbo is calling me bad again. I don't like it. And though I hate his maps, I hate him, but I think there's interesting things here. I think you can definitely cook on this. But it also could just be, you're right, it could be the novelty. Maybe once I've seen a team figure it out, it's the most one-dimensional piece of shit you'll see. But again, hopefully we will see.
I guess so. That's it for us for now. We'll see you again on Thursday for a couple of more matches. You can see them on screen. That's what we're covering, ideally, if those teams don't implode. Until then, I'm surprised no team has yet. I'm actually quite surprised no team has imploded this season so far. Anyway, good night.
Bye.